Hi, everybody. This is Dom from Upstate Supernatural. I'd like to welcome everybody for tuning in for another episode of Interview with a Ghost Hunter. We have this week a special guest. Her name is Anna Hill. She's been an investigator within the field, and right now I think you're not really investigating too much. I think you kind of backed out of that, but I think your views as a veteran investigator, having been in the field in the past, would be very valuable to any individuals interested within the field to know the reality of it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Anna. She's right here.
Hey guys.
And
How's it going?
if you could let us know what your name is and the group that maybe you used to work with or that you were doing all the ghost hunting with.
Yeah, my name's Anna Hill. I'm from California. I was the original founder of Angels of Light Paranormal Society in Marysville, California. Last January, I left that group and decided to venture out on my own. And at this point, pretty much the only thing I'm doing is blogging and writing about different experiences I've had in the paranormal community and different educational topics and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all I'm doing right now.
And how long would you say you've been involved in the paranormal?
I've been interested in the paranormal my entire life. I don't know, just since I was a little tiny kid, I've always had interest. I've had experiences my entire life. But as far as being a paranormal investigator, it's been for about the last 5 years.
And whatever caused you to become interested within the field of the paranormal or within ghost hunting?
Originally, what got me started is being a little kid. I had a lot of experiences with strange things that would happen. I didn't know how to make sense of it, obviously, because I was really small. But my interest really took off when I was about 8 years old. I developed sleep paralysis, and I actually could see a figure standing at the end of my bed in the middle of the night, and for many years I had no explanation for what was going on. Like I said, I was 8 years old when that started, and I don't think I really even had any kind of idea what had happened, except for that I thought that I was having a paranormal experience until I was about 23 years old when I was watching the Montel Williams show, and it was a show about night terrors, and there were people talking about different experiences they had, and one person that was on there, their stories sound just like mine, and it turned out that the person was experiencing sleep paralysis. And the thing about sleep paralysis is that it's really spooky. Even for me, I'm 39 years old now, so I've been dealing with this for 31 years, and it still can be very terrifying. You can have visual hallucinations, so it'll appear as if you have somebody in the room with you. Your body is paralyzed. Basically what it is just your body is in between the REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep, which is really deep sleep, and being awake. So while in your mind you feel like you're awake, you're really actually still dreaming, and the visuals and the dreams that you're having, the hallucinations, will play out in front of your eyes. So to a person who doesn't understand sleep paralysis, it would seem like they are having a paranormal episode. But that kind of got things going for me, and at the same time, it also kind of taught me that even if an experience seems really real to the individual, there might be a rational explanation. And that's kind of where I'm at with my study now, is looking for rational causes, natural causes rather than paranormal ones.
Now, all of us within the field, whether it's actually investigating or just the community, we all have some interesting stories. Is there a particular story that kind of sticks in your mind that you'd like to share with everybody?
As in something I feel maybe a paranormal experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, about, how long has it been now? I'd say a year and a half ago, something like that. my team and we went to Tonopah, Nevada, and I had some bad feelings about going on a case. We had 3 upcoming cases. One was in Tonopah, Nevada at the Belvada Apartments. The USS Hornet was the second one, and then Murphy's Hotel in Murphy, California was the third one. And I had this strange dream that something bad was going to happen. That's something that I've kind of always had my entire life. I would have dreams that would eventually end up coming true. Cognitive dreams, I guess you can call them. I didn't know if it was one of those or not, but I just kind of had a bad feeling about this case. And the drive is 6 hours away, and we got down there, and once I got down there, I just kind of felt like things were kind of off, and I don't know, I just had a bad feeling about it. So we went ahead and we did our walkthrough of the building, and while I was in there, I started to get really sick and was kind of feeling like strange things were going on. And I'm a pretty rational person, so it takes a lot for me to say that something's a ghost or a spirit or paranormal or whatever. But this situation for me was just a really traumatic experience. And basically, it was bad enough. Whatever I was feeling, I felt like I needed to leave the building, and we did. And we went and had breakfast after the walkthrough, and instead of returning to the building, we went down to the local cemetery, which is a really creepy cemetery that has like wooden markers instead of stone markers, and it's all from the 1800s, and it's been on TV a bunch of times for different activity that people were claiming that they've experienced in there. And while I was in there, I started walking in, and like when I go into a cemetery, I'm the person that will go through and I want to read every single tombstone. It's just, I don't know, something about cemeteries it's just my thing. And I walked in and I started to feel really like emotional and strange, and started walking through, and all of a sudden it felt like I had like 2 hooks like right here in my collarbones, and I felt like I was being pulled through the cemetery. And some of my other teammates, they kind of noticed what was going on, and they walked up to me and asked me if I was okay. And by that time I was pretty much in tears, and I told them I had no idea what was going on, but I didn't feel like I was in control of my emotions or my body at all. So they made me leave the cemetery, and I broke down. I kept telling everybody something bad was going to happen, and it turned out about 5 minutes later, I got a phone call saying that my neighbor and my daughter's friend were both in a train accident, and one was killed. And it just absolutely upset me. I just felt like it was like something was telling me like I shouldn't be there. That was probably the most traumatic experience I've had that I've not been able to rationalize. I don't know what happened. Even if it was something that was really spooky for me, even to this day, I try to figure out what happened. Was I having some kind of medical problem or something? Was the chemistry in my brain screwing up? Or I have no idea what happened. But to go through something like that and not be able to find a rational explanation, it's upsetting. So I would probably say that was my biggest, strangest experience that I've had.
That's very interesting. How many investigations per se would you say you've probably gone on or taken part with?
I honestly don't know. There was a point in time when I used to kind of keep track. I knew how many I'd been on, but now with I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, hundreds of them. I would best guess. We did residentials. We did, whatever you call the play and stay or whatever, where you would pay to go see a historic building and then you would investigate overnight. But besides from that, I mean, we've done different types of experimentation, not necessarily in a haunted location, but I don't know. People that have followed my work or whatever, they know about Sue, which is a haunted doll, an allegedly haunted doll that we obtained on a case. That is just something we've kind of, we've checked her out. So I don't know, investigation versus experimentation. It's been a lot, but I really don't have a number for it.
Now, during an investigation, a lot of different individuals have their certain equipment that they prefer to use. What was the type of stuff that you preferred to use out in the field when you're trying to investigate?
I started like everybody else. I used the K2s and all the standard equipment that almost every ghost hunter or paranormal investigator has in their case. Over time, I kind of phased all that out. I wasn't really using it. For me, it seems like a lot of the equipment that people are using nowadays are being misused or used improperly, or like for me, the K2 is something I definitely wouldn't use to try to detect ghosts, but I would use it as a tool to debunk or to see if maybe there's high EMF fields, and maybe that could be causing something to happen with the brain that might cause somebody to hallucinate or think they're having a paranormal experience. But lately and towards the end, I started, my main thing was film. I wanted to catch something on film. I wanted to, I don't know, I just like film cameras because they capture the audio. You kind of can see what's going on. But no, I don't know. I've kind of gotten to the point, I just sold off all of my equipment, even my cameras and everything. I just kind of want to go back to zero and just experience, not really to try to record anything or to try to prove anything to anybody, but just to see that if I'm a little less attached to all the equipment, maybe I can experience something. Because in the last 2 years, I've become pretty skeptical. I think most things have a rational explanation. So I think I'm just to the point now where I just kind of want to untap from all that stuff and just actually see if I can just have some kind of genuine experience.
Now, I've asked this question because I've actually seen it more and more in the field. Certain individuals, when they go to investigate, they really just like to investigate instead of actually investigating and going over the footage. So the reason I kind of asked this question is, what do you find to be the greatest part of doing an investigation? Is it being out there investigating? Or is it actually going through the stuff to find what you found during the investigation?
For me, I'm to the point that it's not even necessarily about finding evidence or ghosts. For me, it's just experiencing the locations. I really enjoy the history. I like strange history, especially if there's anything that has to do with like weird deaths or anything like that. I'm really into that right now. I don't know. It's just the whole dynamic of ghost hunting has completely changed for me to the paranormal community. I know sometimes I kind of sound like a cynic. I don't mean to, but it's kind of, for me, I'm not really into the paranormal investigating part anymore. It's just, it doesn't fascinate me. I just genuinely would like to have an experience that I can for sure say is something paranormal that would just blow my mind. But aside from my experience in Tonopah, I feel like I've found a rational explanation for almost everything that I've gone through.
Now, to any new individuals that might be interested in joining the field, is there any tips or insight you can give to them? Whether to join a group or not join a group, or stay private or do public things? I mean, whatever your view is, I mean, you can be as raw, as honest as you'd like to.
The circles I run, which is a lot of the skeptics, most of them would tell you just don't do it, that just to stay away from it, that it's all kind of a joke or whatever. I'm not really about that. For me, if I was going to give somebody advice, I would give them the advice I wish somebody would have given me, and that's to do all your research first. Get to know your equipment, understand what it does and what it doesn't do, and to keep an open mind. And by keeping an open mind, I don't just mean keeping an open mind to the possibility of ghosts, but I mean also keeping the mind open to the possibility that maybe some of the things that you might perceive as paranormal could actually have a rational explanation. But read everything you can, and don't be afraid to read some work from skeptics like Joe Nickell. Joe Nickell's a real good one. He talks a lot about the just the kind of rationalization behind paranormal claims and that sort of thing. I think it's really important not to just concentrate on trying to find the ghost, but also trying to find out what the source could possibly be, that may have an actual rational explanation.
No, I think that's great insight and great advice. What's your viewpoint on like spirit boxes?
I don't like the spirit box. I never have. I don't know. It's one of the things with me is I'm not a big tech person, so for me to use a lot of this equipment that they say is used for ghost hunting or detecting ghosts or communicating with ghosts, I have a hard time with because I don't really understand how some of the boxes work. But spirit box, I have had some pretty good results from time to time, but again, it's all back to how we perceive things. And I think a lot of the time, I think ghost hunters really jump the gun. Every little noise that comes out of these boxes, they think is a sign of life after death. And I think a lot of the times, I think they're getting auditory pareidolia, just like what we do with clouds. You know, we see a shape in the clouds or something. It's kind of the same thing, but it's with audio. We can hear something that phonetically sounds like a certain word, and to one person it might sound like one thing, but to another person it's going to sound like something completely different. So, not a big fan. Most of the ghost equipment in general, I'm not a big fan of.
Well, I've even seen that with audio recorders like EVP. You know, you hear a voice the first time you go back to listen for it, and you hear something totally different. So I mean, you can hear that with audio recorders as well.
I agree.
What about Ouija boards? Everybody kind of has a viewpoint on them, and I always ask that and like to get that out there for every investigator. I think it's important.
I love Ouija boards. I love what they stand for. Do I think they can be used to communicate with ghosts? No, I just don't. I think there is a scientific explanation for why they work or why people think they work, because they do, but they're not working because of ghosts. They're working because of our own mind and our own brain. There's a psychological effect called the ideomotor effect, which is when the brain can relay messages to the muscles in our bodies subconsciously where we don't even realize it's communicating. And if we want a desired result, we can produce that without even realizing that we're doing it. I've done a lot of work with Ouija boards. I was working with a team for a little while here this year on their Ouija board documentary called Yes, No, Goodbye. That's what the ghostfiles.tv. It's just basically taking the journey with all kinds of different religious groups, like whether it's Wiccans or Voodoo or Hoodoo or whatever, to the Catholic Church, to atheists, to whoever, and using Ouija boards with different people with different beliefs and looking at the outcome and talking to all kinds of people. And it really has taught me a lot. You know, I think everybody has a Ouija board story from when they were kids. And that's the thing, is that's where all the stories come from, is when people were kids using these boards. And it's easy to freak each other out. And, you know, I think most people are very genuine when they say that they believe that they've had a paranormal experience with the board, but I think that some of it is lack of knowledge and understanding that it, you know, could be this psychological effect happening.
That's extremely interesting viewpoint. Is there certain devices or applications that you've used that you feel do work, like that may be beneficial within the field, or you tried to steer clear of all technological devices?
I'm at the point I'm pretty well steering clear of all that. I think I've done it long enough that I've not necessarily found anything that works, but I found things I don't feel work. And, you know, these are only my opinions. I could be wrong, but I haven't really found anything that really blew my mind as far as gathering evidence. For me, the best way to be is to be undistracted and to pay attention to your surroundings and, to kind of see what's going on. I think people can get too distracted trying to make all these devices work that they become totally detached from their environment and not paying attention to what's going on around them.
What would you say probably the worst thing that you've ever came across within the field?
As far as paranormal or just in general?
Probably just in general. I mean, paranormal or in general, whatever you feel comfortable with.
The worst thing I've experienced would probably be people that are trying to become famous off of producing or posting bogus material that misinforms a lot of people. People that use other people's terror or experiences to try to beef up their resumes. That type of stuff really bothers me. As far as paranormal stuff, I would honestly say the only thing I've had happen to me that really frightened me or upset me was the experience at Tonopah.
I like to ask this because I do the interview with a skeptic as well. For their question, I ask, what's their view on the afterlife? For the interview with the ghost hunter, I like to ask, what is your theory of why or how a ghost exists? For any investigator out there, do they have a theory of why they exist or how they exist?
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not a complete skeptic and I'm not a complete believer either. I guess the most generic term I could use is a believing skeptic. I do believe in the possibility of an afterlife. I have to. I've lost both my parents, and for me it's become kind of a quest not to prove to everybody else whether or not it exists, but for my own peace of mind, I would like to know that some of the experiences I've had that I've perceived as my mom and dad, if it's them or not. It would be nice to know, but I believe that there's a possibility that at some point or another that we're able to come back, and I don't know if it's parallel dimensions. I have no idea what it is, but I do honestly believe that something is happening. I just don't know what it is.
And I mean, you've kind of already answered this in a way. It's more or less what you are kind of right now. But were you ever a true skeptic, like a complete skeptic before you looked into the field, like a non-believer? Or has being in the paranormal actually pushed you to become more skeptical?
Definitely being here is what's pushed me to be skeptical. I've always been a believer. As a matter of fact, 5 years ago, if you had asked me that question, it would have nothing to do with skepticism whatsoever. It's just me fully believing that there's something out there because of the experiences I've had. But looking at paranormal claims over time, and I think social media has kind of maybe caused some of it because people are so open with their experiences. And people are riding the fame train right now. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's being produced out there that I think is total garbage. And it's not necessarily that I'm skeptical of the paranormal, but I'm skeptical of people, their methodology, and I think that the TV standard black t-shirt wearing K2 carrying ghost hunting is garbage. That's just my own personal opinion.
All right, and I'd like to open it up to any viewers that may have questions. Let me see if they already stuck some in the chat real quick. I did see one already, which was, what do you think about EVP?
EVP, I think of all the different types of evidence that are out there, that's about the closest for me to believing. in any type of evidence. I've heard some things. I've personally have gotten some EVP that were remarkable. I don't know how they happen. I don't know if they're paranormal. I don't know. It could be aliens for all I know. I really don't know what's going on. I like EVP, but I'm burnt out on it. I really have become burnt out on ghost hunting, period. It's kind of sad, but it's been a progression since, I don't know, about the last year or so, where I've just kind of backed off from it. But I've heard some pretty compelling things, honestly, and it's probably the closest piece of evidence that I've kind of find myself sometimes just scratching my head that I just don't know.
Question from it's actually not in the chat, just something I thought of. With all the experience through investigating in your methodologies, is there a certain procedure that you kind of abide by yourself to try to find answers that you're trying to look for? I know you keep it a little more private, like leaving it out in the public. Part of me now, I'm thinking with a public view, it kind of almost pushes you in a wrong route, because you're looking for their positive reinforcement, whereas if you did it privatized, you wouldn't have to worry about that. It's just whatever you're finding.
I don't know. My biggest thing when investigating is just trying to go in without any bias, which is really hard. It's hard to kind of remove things you've heard, especially when you go into a place that maybe has a really well-known dark history or something. Like when we're going into, like, let's say like Waverly or I don't know, one of the different asylums or something like that. It's hard not to buy into the history or the legends that we hear about places. I just try to go in with an open mind, and by open mind I mean that I'm open to the possibility of there being something in there, and I'm also open to the possibility of something not being there at all. Just being aware of my surroundings, trying to document the best I can what's going on around me, so that way I can eliminate as many false positives as possible. I don't know. I just try to be smart and try to keep my mind open.
Now, what's your view on the K2 meter? Like EMF, do you feel that maybe EMF is a way to track or trace whether ghosts exist?
K2 is kind of my it's kind of my pet peeve piece of equipment. EMF and the paranormal, it's not that I necessarily feel that ghosts or whatever this is, because we don't really know what we're dealing with. How it ever came about that we felt that ghosts affect EMF, I don't know where that came from, but there's no proof, there's no scientific proof behind it. The best thing I could say is I believe that EMF can cause us to hallucinate. Whether it's auditory or visual. There's been some studies that have done. There's nothing solid. There's no solid scientific information out there. But I think that the best thing that we could do with our EMF equipment is test to see if there's ridiculously high levels in the home that could be affecting people's health. We did have a case back in January, which was my last residential we did it. The house was directly underneath these big, massive power lines that run the state of California, and we all see them. They usually run along like railroad tracks. And the house, when I walked in, I just instantly had a migraine, and I felt like crap as soon as I walked in. Started taking readings on EMF, and it was absolutely through the roof. And these people were talking about strange visual hallucinations, is the best I could call them. But for them, they felt that it was paranormal, like black little triangles floating around on the floor and stuff. When I went in, I didn't see anything at all that they would say that they would see something right in front of me, and I just wasn't seeing it. I think it's just best for debunking. I don't think that the meter should be used for looking for ghosts at all. The K2, for one, people shouldn't be walking around holding them. They should be sat down. People need to educate themselves on ambient EMF. We have EMF around us at all times. Even if you go into a building with no electrical hooked up to the building at all, you can still get ambient EMF on the air, and that could be transmitted and affect your equipment.
Yeah, actually, I have done a little bit more research with the K2s, and everybody, when they're using them, they use them flat, kind of just flat out. Mm-hmm. How it's actually supposed to work is it's supposed to be straight up, because it goes north to south and then west to east and so forth. By turning it on its side, you're actually malfunctioning the device. I did do a little bit of research and saw some stuff on that.
Even some of the skeptics that I've talked to, because I have asked some of them about the EMF and what their ideas or theories is behind it and why they think that it won't work. And a lot of them say that even if they were to use any kind of equipment EMF equipment for the purpose of investigations, they would use a tri-field meter. Like I said, I'm not tech savvy at all, so I don't want to sit here and talk like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. Just the information that I've gathered is from other skeptics that are obviously against ghost hunting. They don't feel that we should be doing that. And I kind of listen to both.
Now, what's your what would you say is your favorite piece of equipment to use, like a voice recorder or a notepad, or that was one of the questions in the chat.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking over that. Hi, everybody. I think that people shouldn't downplay good old-fashioned ghost hunting as far as a flashlight, pencil, paper, sit down and just listen and take notes. One of the things I did like when I was an investigator is using the DVR systems, where you can kind of have your hands free and you can kind of look at the environment around you. That way you end up with a little less false positives. You don't want to think that you're seeing like a shadow figure, and then here back in this room where there's a big light source behind, Tom's walking across the room. If you're sitting down in a room, from your perspective, it'd be really hard to debunk something like that. But with the DVR systems, kind of not using the DVR systems necessarily for capturing evidence, but just to kind of get a good look at your scene and to use it to try to debunk some things too.
Now, have you ever seen any shadow play, like any dark figures, light or dark?
Oh yeah. I think anybody that's spent any time in the dark, we're going to see some things. One of the experiences I had right about the time I became an investigator, I lived in a 1800s Victorian home in Marysville, and I actually had some ghost hunters come out and check out the house, and that's because here I'm walking through my kitchen minding my own business, and it just felt like this black figure leaned in right at me. And at that time, I definitely felt that I was having a paranormal experience again. But, after kind of researching the human eye and the retinas and all that type of stuff, kind of realized that, it could have just been something out of my peripheral that just kind of, my vision was screwed up, so it's hard to say.
And then another individual was asking, do you find locations from public listings, courthouses, local historians?
Yeah.
How do you find your locations per se?
One, I'm no hater when it comes to checking out the more popular places. I like going to really well-known locations. But with me, Marysville, my city, is a very historical location. We were originally supposed to be the capital of California. We have the oldest city-owned cemetery west of the Rockies, so I've kept most of my stuff local. Plus, I live right by Sacramento, which we have old Sacramento. We have a lot of gold rush history here. So there's like no shortage for me whatsoever to find locations. I just talk to people. I just get together with other teams. Like right now, I'm not with the team, so my favorite thing to do is to get together with other people who like to investigate, and they're like, hey, I checked out this place, you should too, it's pretty cool. And I mean, I'll just hop in a car with a couple buddies and we'll go up to, the hills and check out a Gold Rush hotel or something. That's just kind of my way to do it.
No, I just thought of a question in a way. What have you actually found anything substantial within the field that you felt was truly paranormal?
I did have an experience at the National Hotel in Nevada City, California. It's a place that was on Ghost Adventures. I don't know if people remember it or not, but they talked about a room being haunted by this little girl named Elizabeth. And if you put her picture, which is hanging on the wall, which I don't know if there's no historical proof that the girl in the picture is Elizabeth, but there's a picture hanging on the wall, and they say that if you take the picture off the wall, put it under the bed, that she'll come out to talk to you. On that same episode, they talked about a recent suicide where the guy had shot himself in the head after a standoff with police, and they were looking for evidence of him being there. And I don't think they really captured anything, and neither did we. But as girls, we were upstairs in Elizabeth's room, and we did the whole thing. We took the picture off the wall, put it under the bed, and we began doing an EVP session. And I just had this little handheld IR cam. It was some little cheap $30 camera I bought. And I'm sitting on the bed, leaned up against the wall, and then over here is my teammate Jennifer, and my teammate Roxy's over here sitting on the ground. And we're sitting in the dark. The only way I could see kind of what's going on in the room is because of the little IR cam. And then across the room we had a DVR camera, so Base could kind of watch what we were doing. Excuse me. Just knowing that we were trying to get a little girl to try to talk to us, we decided, we're like, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's sing to her and see if we can get her to sing back with us. So Jennifer started singing I'm a Little Teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. And we're singing, and I don't know, we went through it a couple of times, and nothing really was happening. But then all of a sudden I could hear her, as Jennifer's singing, she had stopped, and then all of a sudden I could hear another voice singing along with her, and I thought, okay, well, now I know I'm tripping, because it was way too clear. Sat for a little bit, and then Jennifer would sing a couple lines, but then stop, and the voice would sing the next line from the song. And this is very audible. So we're tripping, we're kind of getting freaked out a little bit, getting a little anxious, and played back the video on the camera, and the voice was there. I've got like 8 EVPs on this little 2-minute clip that just, I guess we call them AVPs versus EVP if you're actually able to hear them with your ears. But that footage, I still have it on YouTube, and it drives me crazy. I have no idea. If I heard somebody else telling me to listen to this clip, I totally would think that it was made up. But I have no reason to make any of that up, because here I am. I'm on the other end of it. I'm trying to be the rational one to say that, that we need to use our brains a little bit and not jump to conclusions. And here I've got this audio. I have no idea what to make of it. I've sent the audio because I want somebody to pick it apart. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can do as investigators, is to scrutinize our own work to pieces. We need to really look at it and be our biggest critics. But that was amazing to me. It made me emotional to play it back. I actually cried when we played it back, because I really felt that there was a possibility that we made a connection with her.
No, that's really cool. Really, really cool. What's your dream location to investigate?
Vlad Tepes Castle in Romania. Dracula's castle, everybody talks about that. And I would like to go see, the name just escaped me, what's the one in Italy where Ghost Adventures went, Pravalia or whatever it's called? I'd like to go there too.
Now, I'm pretty sure when they did Dracula's castle, they didn't catch anything, if I remember right.
No, I don't remember.
With the ghosts, I think it was Ghost Hunters International went there.
Yeah, my buddy My buddy Dustin Perry, he was there, and we talked quite a bit about it. He said regardless of whatever they capture or didn't capture, it's about the experience for me. I'm more interested in the history than anything else at this point anyways.
Yeah, that's a hell of a staircase to climb.
Yeah.
It's like 2,000 steps or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'd get my cardio in check first.
Actually, people are asking because they'd like to see that footage.
Yeah. I'll try to see if I can't pull it up for you guys. I'm on here, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd also like to give a shout out for your YouTube channel, I can.
Well, the thing is, I don't have YouTube anymore. It's my old team. So, it's Alps Ubesetter. ALPS Ubesetter, I think. It's been a long time since I've been on there, but I'll try to find the video for you guys. It's crazy. I don't know. And mind you that this is years ago. This is before I really became a skeptic or anything. You know, I didn't implement what I do now, but still when I look at this footage, for me, it blows my mind. And the audio's not very good. Like I said, the the audio on it was horrible. Here, I'll post it for you guys. There you go. You guys can watch it. Oh, I can't send it inside chat. Anyways, it's Alps Ubesetter.
Yeah, if you send it in the Skype chat, I can put it right in the description below.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Skype rookie. I can try.
It's got the little dialogue circle on the side there.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I can throw that right in the description below.
But for me, that was like the biggest deal for me when it came to investigating. I don't know what happened with that audio, but it was really remarkable. And you'll see, and this is the thing, the one thing I do like about this video is you're going to see an orb in this video. And the thing is, I hate orbs now. And I think most people would try to get rid of that. Like, oh my God, Anna posted an orb and she's supposed to be a skeptic. But the thing is it's about growth. I think the whole experience, this is why I don't push my values too hard on other people. And if other people are devout believers, they have no skepticism whatsoever, that's okay. I think that everybody needs to learn at their own pace, and it's about our individual experiences. I was a devout believer, and I believed in everything. I used to be that person that would share every creepy video that was out there because I thought it was true. But I've gotten to the point in my study that I have meticulously scrutinized my work but the thing is just really gone over everything, and now I'm to the point that I'm realizing it's like, okay, well, now that I can move all the BS out of the way and stop looking at all these small things like orbs that I think are absolutely ridiculous, I can make way for some bigger experiences that have a little bit more substance to them. I use my hands a lot because I'm watching the video after the fact. I can see I'm a hand talker.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually switch that into into the description. Trying to see if there's any other questions that popped down there.
Yeah, and I see like one of the guests, saying, oh, well, our guest seems to be a little bit skeptical. There's nothing wrong with that. Skepticism is something that should be utilized by all investigators. We use skepticism every day, whether it's choosing a doctor, trying to go with a phone plan or anything. Skepticism is a part of life. It's used kind of as a bad word. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the big things with the interview with the skeptic. I personally feel it's huge. Like it's something that needs to be seen. Their viewpoint does need to be seen, because if it's not,
well, there's a misconception that skepticism means lack of belief, and it's not the way it is. There's many well-known skeptics that are out there that are Christian, which tells you alone that they believe in some sort of spiritual facet. It's important to utilize it. Skepticism is not a stance, it's the tool to get to where we're at. I think there's a pretty well-known quote, I can't think of it. It was quoted by Dr. Shermer, Michael Shermer, which is a skeptic that wrote several books. He has a pretty good quote out there about that. skepticism is not who I am, but it's my path to get to the answer. The ultimate answer here is to find the truth. Whether you completely believe or you completely don't believe, the important thing at the end of the day, I think we're all on the same goal of trying to find out the truth. I think that's the only thing that divides anybody in the paranormal community. It's not believer versus skeptic. It's those that are here to actually find the truth and those that are here that are truly trying to find fame. There's a big difference. I think that's where the wedge is in the paranormal community.
And I got that link up there for anybody that's viewing. You can view that right down in the description for the video if you're interested in checking out that video on her YouTube.
Yeah, and I see a question here from Simon. He's asking me, when I talk about a more substantial experience, am I talking about something from the movies where you end up attacked, or more personal, like a conversation capturable on audio? For me, there are certain things that are being passed off as evidence out there in the paranormal community, and like I was using orbs as a example. Orbs are something that you can go on. There's several websites. The ASSAP website, I think, is what it's called. It's for the study of anomalous type photography and stuff like that. There's a lot of information out there that can prove that orbs, not video orbs, but we're talking about photographic orbs, the big bulbs that we see in pictures, have been proven time and time again not to be paranormal. What I mean by substantial is we need to start like looking at stuff like the audio. I think audio is really important. To me, that's a little bit more substantial because we don't have definite answers what EVP is. There's a chance, I've seen a lot of different studies about like microwaves and the like sounds from space or whatever. To me, that's what I mean by substantial. We need to start looking at things that have not been proven to be BS, for the nicer way to put it, and start moving away from the caveman type pieces of evidence that are just kind of, to me, are a huge waste of time. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time trying to prove that orbs are real, and it's goofy for me. I don't know. I would rather see people spending more time on video and audio, or making up new experiments, or looking at new types of evidence.
Well, I mean, I have as well. I've seen a lot of individuals, looking at orbs or things like that they undeniably think is paranormal. But again, with any, not being a skeptic, I mean, I'm a full believer. I believe it exists and so forth, but I am very skeptical of other individuals' footage that they put out there as well.
Absolutely.
Everybody has their own sort of intent, so until you know what that is, it makes me very skeptical. But a lot of some of the orb stuff that's out there, you can go to the National Paranormal Society on Facebook, and they will immediately, if you put a photo up, they will give you a photo which shows you every single kind of orb that's in existence.
Yeah.
Whether it's moisture, snow, or anything else.
Right. Yeah, and I run a group kind of like theirs. It's called Paranormal Dustbusters and Truth Seekers. It's a group on Facebook, and we kind of do the same thing, but sometimes our members can be a little less tolerant of some of the stuff that comes across. Like with me, I'm talking about the biggest pet peeve for me is ghost apps. Not talking about like these spirit box type apps on cell phones. I'm talking about the ones where you take pictures and there is a little ghost girl. Those drive me nuts, and those are still being passed off by paranormal teams on their pages as evidence. And I don't mean like they're taking pictures and saying, okay, this is a ghost, but they're passing the crap around. How many times have you all seen the deer cam girl, the little girl with the plaid dress, and you still see teens passing her around? If we don't begin to evolve from that type of crap, we're never going to become what we need to be in this community. If we're really trying to look for truth, we need to start brushing the BS out of the way.
I actually had an occurrence. Another team showed me a photo. It looked like an Indian, And I mean, it was transparent, looked pretty legit. And then that team went back to the client. The client admitted to them that they photoshopped it, that they made it fake, and the reason they did it was to check to see how well that team looked into photos, how well that team actually looked into the footage or to the cases that they did. I thought it was fascinating that it happened.
Well, this day and age, I mean, the information's out there. It's just what you choose to look at. I think there's a saying that in this day and age of information, ignorance is a choice, and I really do think that's true. I would really be happy to see teams start thinking for themselves and move away from the TV type antics, like I said earlier, the black T-shirt, arms crossed wearing type of mentality, and really start looking at experiments and start understanding the scientific method, even though I don't think it can completely be used in the paranormal community or in paranormal investigation, because what are ghosts? How do we even prove that ghosts are existing or what they are? So it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess. And Dover Paratech here has a good point, and I promote this one religiously. Learn what EXIF data is, metadata on pictures. The EXIF data, that will show you whether or not a photo's been tampered with.
And I actually have a question for you that I've never asked anybody out there, but I gotta remember exactly how I was gonna phrase it. I'll get back to it. Do you have any upcoming projects, any books, anything coming up that you'd like to announce? Is there anything going on?
No, I just moved, so I'm taking it kind of on the back burner a little bit with the paranormal community. The best way to look at where I'm at and what I'm doing, I have a blog. It's paranormalanna.blogspot.com. You'll see a lot of educational type topics I've written on there. I write a lot about trying to remove the stigma from skepticism. It's just really taken on this negative form, and it doesn't need to. There are groups of skeptics out there that take all the time in the world to attack other people. There's bad in every group. Not all skeptics are mean people that are just out there trying to disprove people's claims. We're just trying to find the truth, just like everybody else. But I write about things like the EXIF data and ghost apps and that type of stuff. But I also write about stuff because I'm a healthcare professional by trade, and I write a lot about death. I've got a really big fascination with death and the organics of death and the human experience behind it. And I think that's important to kind of understand too when you're dealing with what we believe are human spirits, but understanding the journey of death. I think that's important too.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Unless anybody else has any other questions, I honestly can't even remember what the question was.
I don't either. I probably didn't even answer it, but
I mean, it must have been the one I was thinking of. It must not have been as good as I thought it was. So.
Yeah, it was my upcoming projects. I really don't have anything going on because I'm just not doing it anymore. My big thing is writing, so I like to talk about different experiences I've had, and I don't have any problem talking about a few frauds out there too, and that's always interesting.
Well, I mean, to an extent, I mean, there's drama in anything, in every capacity of whatever you do, whether it's religion, with church, or just school, college, whatever it is, business, anything. There's always drama. There's always bullshit, and the more that we try not to bring it home, the more it sometimes comes home with you. But I've definitely seen my fair share of some of the para drama per se. And I do know what's going on with you as well, and I hate to see that with anybody, whether it's para drama or anything else.
That's their drama. That's not my problem. So I don't let it get to me. I have made a few people mad out there that don't like the way I am and my way of thinking. I think there's a lot of BS out there that shouldn't be happening. I think there's a lot of teams out there that don't have the best intentions in mind when it comes to other people, and I have no problem calling people out. So I've definitely made a few people mad in my time, and I'm proud of it because that means I'm standing up for others.
But I'd like to thank you for coming on, and thank you for your insight. Thank you for all the different questions that we asked and your answers for those. I thought the interview went extremely awesome, and I appreciate you popping on. And hopefully this helps the field eventually. I'm hoping.
I hope so. And I appreciate you having me on, and it's been fun. And I thank everybody for the great questions and conversation.
So everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. If you'd like to check out other episodes, you can check those in the playlist below with Interview with the Ghost Hunter. You can also find different web series that Upstate Supernatural puts out there. If you're interested in seeing the video file that Anna was talking about during the show, you can find that in the description below. I actually have that labeled on there for you. And if you'd like to check out her blog, it's actually in the description below as well. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of the night. And Anna, thanks again.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. Thank you.